Met everybody in. People are showing up. Hi, everyone. Hey, Mike. And everyone comes in muted, just FYI. So if you want to say hi, you just have to unmute yourself.
Of course, here. There we go.
Yeah. Hey.
I've just spent the last 2.5 hours in class talking on this thing. I kind of feel like muting is where I ought to be right now.
I know. Understood. Understood.
Totally relate.
But I have to say, I'm just really jazzed that you guys chose to use the baseball photographer trading cards as a metaphor for your Major League All-Stars. It's really kind of an honor to do that. So kudos to you and thank you. Did you
get the cards?
Not yet. I think I saw there was an email that they were in transit. If they may have.
No, they're in your mailbox. That's what it said. It was delivered to your mailbox. Okay, you literally have not left the house, right?
I've been in this chair since 1:30. It's 4 o'clock right now. I have not gotten up, and so I haven't had a chance to look at. I haven't had a chance to eat anything, literally. But,
awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for sending them. I can't wait to see them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're going to talk about in a minute how grateful we are to you for your participation as well. It's been great to have you as part of this.
Thank you. And I just think it's kind of cool that you are honoring me with the metaphor. So I'm so happy to be part of it.
Awesome. Well, we'll get started in, we usually start about 5 minutes late. We always go by art school time. Yeah, we're really excited. We've got kind of some things lined up. We've got some prizes to give away. We're going to launch the Kickstarter, which we've been working on for a really long time. So it's really great to see everybody out there. And are there people out there that are in the cards? Anybody who's got? All right, Megan, hi.
Nice.
And KH, who's that?
I'm not sure why it says KH, but my name is Catherine Hood.
Hi, Catherine.
I'm not anonymous, but hi. I'm
glad
to be part of this. Yeah.
You're part of it. Great. And Granville Carroll, I know is part of it because he's in we made a beta deck, which I'm going to show you so you can get a sense of what all 500 are going to look like. People are showing up.
So Anne is not going to be here, and I'm feeling her absence right now because she's really good at the banter thing.
That's right. She's good at getting us organized and rolling and all of those things. You know what we do if you're new to FotoFika or you've never been to this group before, if you want to put a if you message to me, John Fryer, there. If you message your email address, we can put you on the email list so you get additional information from us. We only send out things related to FotoFika. We don't have a longer mailing list, so you can message me directly. And I think we'll just get started. I think it's 4:04. So, well, I'm really happy to see everybody today. My name is John Fryer, and Betsy, while I'm doing this, can you just admit everybody who comes in? Yeah.
I'll do it.
So my name is John Fryer, and I'm an associate professor of cross-disciplinary media in the Department of Photo and Film at Virginia Commonwealth University. And I've been partnering with Betsy Schneider and Ann Massoni, and on the FotoFika 2020 All-Stars project, Becky Senf. And we've been, who's here today, and we also have our friend Mike Mandel, who the FotoFika All-Stars is an homage to. So Betsy is going to tell you a little bit about the origins of FotoFika in general, and then also the baseball card project that we started. And I'll just say that the first FotoFika, we're celebrating our anniversary next week. So it's about a year since FotoFika started. And it originally came out of last year when everybody was going online immediately because of COVID. Betsy reached out to friends on Facebook and the photography professors group to talk about her experience with doing online photography teaching. And I think there was like 40 or 50 people, including myself, that showed up on that first day. And then we got together with the Society for Photographic Education when Ann Massoni was on the board. And we worked together to start a weekly program that grew out of just that kind of quick Facebook chat, on the day of shutdown. So I don't know if I've stolen your material, Betsy, but I'm gonna hand it to you.
No, it's okay. No, you haven't. And I think, a couple things, and we don't want to go on too much, but I think this idea of understanding where we came from, and several of you have been coming, but yeah, so we started almost a year ago, and I think we're probably all starting to think a little bit like it's been a year, like a year that seems like 20 years, and a year that also maybe how time is like that. So we've been thinking a lot about where people were a year ago, and I don't want to go on too much about it, but this group, I think it started. I had some experience teaching online, and I thought I'd offer some advice to people or just some help. And one thing that I was surprised at how many people came and how much people helped each other. But one thing that I noticed or distinctly between April, the anxiety, especially among people who are teaching, to December, where we're still feeling anxiety and a lot of other things, but people were so much more confident. And I just feel like the transformation, I'm not saying it's because of this group, but I think it's been the community that I've seen here. It's been one of a really good thing that's come out of the last year. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the cards. So really early on, like a couple weeks into FotoFika, we got this idea. And it started because we were feeling really sad about the class of 2020. As teachers, as professors, we were seeing students, we're seeing that their shows weren't going to happen. And I mean, some of this stuff feels kind of quaint to say now, but the intensity of that moment and just realizing like, wow, they're all ready and it's not going to happen. And I had an extra layer because I was a parent of a college senior and a parent of two high school seniors. So everything felt extra personal to me. I mean, I think everything felt extra personal to everyone, but in particular, and I'm looking at Granville. I also had a bunch of students and former students who are graduating. And I just felt like I felt it. And I think a lot of us really felt it. So one day, John and Ann and I are talking. I'm talking about sports cards, and we start talking about Mike's baseball cards, baseball player, and we just throw it out. And John and Ann, and it really was John and Ann who were like, oh, "Let's make cards. Let's make cards for the trading cards for the class of 2020." And I think of myself as kind of a dreamer, but I sat there and I'm like, you guys are crazy. Like, this can't really happen. I don't think I said that, but I remember thinking in the back of my head, like, wow. And I have to say, I feel like that was like the last really super significant thing I did. I feel like, John and Ann, and then I was talking to Becky about this idea, and I'm going to pass it over to Becky because I was telling her about the idea, and she also was like, that sounds great. I have an idea. So Becky, I'll hand it to you.
Yeah, so Betsy and I were talking about the cards, and as a curator, I work at the Center for Creative Photography. And as a curator, I was trying to think about what would make people like me, professionals in the field, be interested in the cards and really want to look at them and become invested in the content. And you won't be surprised to know that I thought, well, if we involve the curators and they actually get to participate in some way, then they're going to be more invested in the outcome of the project. And so that was how we came up with the idea of inviting curators and editors and writers and people who are related to the field to participate by commenting on some of the students' work and creating cards for those people as well. That sort of evolved as we went along. But what I like about it, even though the initial impulse was to think about how to make more people invested in the project, what I like is that it actually expands the network that we built. So rather than it only representing the students, it builds a bit of a bridge and connects students and people in the field to one another, so that there's some sense of reciprocal relationship, and the way that we all went through 2020, and that there's maybe a way that those curators and executive directors could do something that reached out to the students, and that there was a way that we could all work together. And that felt really positive. So John, I think I can hand it back to you now.
Yeah, so I'm going to share my screen, and basically I'm going to show you a few things, and then we're going to launch the Kickstarter. We'll show you the video, and then we'll talk about. I think I'll talk about the prizes before I press go on the video. So, all right. So one of the things that so FotoFika has been this thing that we've been running for a year, and it's primarily a resource for teachers and educators who are working in the field. So we've built this really fantastic website with the help of Tom Woodard, who was in the IT program, ran the alt lab at VCU, and basically on the turn of a dime, we went from having nothing to a domain name and a fully functioning site that has resources specifically for teaching. And almost immediately afterwards, once we decided we were going to do something around the baseball cards, and we called Mike, and Mike, like, I don't know, the next week was like, oh yeah, I'll come and talk about my project there as part of our launch. And by that time, Tom had worked with, let's see if Kim Peters, I think Kim Peters is here in the audience too. Kim Peters is a graphic designer here in Richmond who I had worked with, who was a former student of mine, and she's out practicing in the field now, and I reached out to her about coming up with a way to replicate the thing that Mike was doing, but also provide a kind of now moment to it. So let me go to the next tab here. And basically what happened here is that people could fill out a basic Google form, submit an image, and then write a short statement about their work. So this is Jessie Lee from the University of Cincinnati. And the thing that Becky worked on with us is that she reached out to all of these different people from the photo world to write about 134 different students. So they selected an artist to be an all-star, and then they wrote about their work. And the significance of 134 is that the original deck that Mike Mandel made was there were 134. So we based our all-stars around that. And the thing that we're building essentially is we're making 10 decks of cards with 50 decks each. So there'll be upwards of 500 cards in the end. But so we didn't know what we were going to, if we were going to be able to print them. But that was our goal at first. And initially we thought, oh, maybe we'll just print the all-stars. And then it became really important to us to really represent everybody who participated. So as I click through these cards, there are student cards, and then there are reviewer cards. So the reviewers also could opt for a card. So I think, and this is, if you want to see, if you haven't seen this before, I'll put a link in the chat for everybody. Let's see, everyone in meeting. And I think let's go ahead and I think we should launch it. What do you think? Should we launch it?
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
do it. Let's do it. All right, let's do it. All right, so this is, and we're letting people in. So one thing that we've had a lot of help from the Society for Photographic Education, which is an organization that really stepped up when we started FotoFika. gave us their Zoom account, which we still use, and send out announcements to everybody about all the events that we're having. And they're serving as a fiscal sponsor for this. So all the money through Kickstarter will go through to a nonprofit account that's specifically set up to enable us to purchase these and get these made. So I've read all of these things, and if I launch now, I've never launched a Kickstarter before.
John, I was just thinking, did we explain to everyone that the goal of this?
Yeah, so I think what we'll do is show you this video, and that if it doesn't explain the goal, we're happy to answer questions. Now, the one thing I'll say is that we're going to do prizes, and what we're going to do is we're going to give a card to everybody who made a purchase of a deck. And I think what we'll do is we'll just give a card to everyone who's here right now, regardless. So if you put your address, a mailing address, I'll mail you a card. If you're in the beta deck, I'll send you your card. And then if you buy an entire deck, let's see, you know what, let's play this, and then I'll get into the prizes. All right. Welcome to the Kickstarter for the FotoFika 2020 All-Stars. We're publishing 10 decks of photography baseball cards featuring the work of the graduating class of 2020. Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Did you get the cards?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I've got mine right here.
Oh, yeah, go get them.
I've got mine.
Here, I'm going to show you. I want to show people what they're going to look like. Give me a second here. Deck of FotoFika cards. This is just the beta deck, but there will be more than, I think we're going to have upwards of 500 cards. Are they in focus? Can you see them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Reviewers, artists, all-stars. So excited. They
look great.
Don't they look great?
They look fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, I guess this is the start of our Kickstarter project, right? The FotoFika 2020 All-Stars. We're going to include more than 380 images from 380 students. We invited photo students from the class of 2020 across the globe to submit a single image and a statement about their work. We've welcomed the work of all graduated students in photography, regardless of degree type. We've been sharing their work and promoting the project on Instagram and all of our sites, including photofika.org, and there's no cost for students to participate.
So we got the idea from these cards based loosely on Mike Mandel's iconic 1970 baseball cards of photographers. And we thought this was a way to celebrate the class of 2020 and to introduce students and their work to curators, reviewers, and institutions as part of their future as practicing artists.
I was brought into the project to invite professionals in the field to review the students' images. Our goal was to have 134 curators, writers, critics, artists, and alumni of Mike Mandel's original cards as reviewers, and that's what we achieved. And then each reviewer had the option to have a black and white portrait card included in the deck, and over 100 opted to do so.
We'll produce physical sets of cards and uncut sheets that will be made available for inclusion in collections around the country. Cards will be made available in packs, as well as those uncut sheets for purchase for the participants, reviewers, and anyone else who's interested. This is where we need to raise money in order to fund the printing and provide each of our 380 students with a deck of cards that includes their images. We're raising $20,000 to print and distribute an initial order of 1,000 decks.
You want to see some more?
Yeah.
All right. They're so good. I'm so excited about them. There's Mike Mandel from the original deck. He's kind of the inspiration.
Granville Carroll. This is one of my favorite
Ooh.
cards right here.
There he is.
Love my therapist. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad you got your decks.
So excited.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. See ya. Hey, and now we just need your help to get these cards made. So check out the description below and come find us online. And I can't wait to mail you a deck of these cards.
All right. Well, we've already got a backer. Hey, everybody. All right. So here's what we're going to do. If you put your address into the chat to me, just make it directly to me. I will give you one of the cards. And if you're represented in the first deck, there's only 50 in the first deck, or 45. So if you're here, put your address in. We'll mail you a card from it. The first person to purchase an entire set will get. I'm going to show. Let me show my screen here. So here's what the decks look like. So this is our last beta deck. We only had 10 made. So if you're the first person to buy an entire set, you'll get the only leftover beta deck. So do that. If you buy, one thing that we want to make clear is that one of the goals of this is to distribute a deck of cards to every student who participated in the All-Stars. So there's options if you scroll through here. I'll put the link in the chat here too. If you scroll through, you can buy a deck for 25, or you can buy a deck and give a deck. So the people who buy a deck and give a deck are going to get a bag of coffee. So the first 10 of you that buy a deck and give a deck, we'll send you a bag of Recovery Roast coffee, which is a project that I've been working on. And while I'm going to go ahead and open these up. So I won't open this set because someone is going to get that. But here are the cards. So they're on pretty heavy stock, bright white stock. They're coated because they're made by a playing card company, so they're pretty durable, and they reproduce pretty well. Can people see? Yeah.
Bubble gum.
What's that? There's no bubble gum. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that Mike. Do you still have bubble gum from from your decks?
Well, I do have some bubble gum, but it's really in the form of powder.
Yeah. So there's students that are designated as an all-star on the back of them. So this is Sandy Phillips, wrote about Kyle Camper, who was one of my BFA students. So I was really excited to and that was the thing where we used the site that I showed you, and reviewers had access to that site and went through and looked through all of these different artists. And another thing that's significant with this is that it was open to everybody who was graduating in the class of 2020. So we had students from around the world submit images. There was no vetting. Everybody who submitted was included. And it was anybody who was graduating. So it was MFA, BFA, BA, associate's degrees, anybody who was graduating in the class of 2020, we wanted to be represented. So the reviewer cards are black, and they're black and white. So they're differentiated from the student cards. But it's just we were so excited to see them and have them in our hands, because you never know when you send things out to print, like what's going to come back. So excited to share these with you. And I'm just going to go through them. Let's see, Kayla, story.
Don,
yep.
maybe you should invite questions.
Oh, yeah. So let's, do people have questions, or does anybody want to talk about their experience being involved with this and what it may or may not have meant to them?
Hamida, I can start and answer Hamida. Right now, we don't have a list, but we are planning to include a checklist in every deck.
Yeah, so there is a list on the site right now of every student who has participated and will be included. And we could probably make a list of who's in the first beta deck, but we only made 10 just for proofing purposes. So if you're here today and you're in a deck, I'll send you yours. And if not, you can see them when they come out.
It would be great to know who's in that first deck. I think that would help.
Okay, we can
incentivize people.
Yes, and we're producing all of the decks.
And the one thing I do want to make clear is the first deck was somewhat random, but it's not. There's no hierarchy in that first deck. So we actually tried to create a deck that was pretty inclusive of the range of work. So we just want to make sure that there's not a sense of that. And this is one reason, of course, why it's really important that we meet this fundraising goal, because it's really important to include everyone, I think. And so anyway, yes, I think for those of you, I don't know if we could read off, but I think of the people here right now, I think who are in this first deck, I think we have these two people. Or am I missing anyone else who's here right now? Granville and Mike. So
yeah.
How much does a deck cost?
So the decks they're $25, and so that is through Kickstarter, through the link that we just sent, and then it goes up from there. So there's an option to get one deck. There's an option to get a deck and buy a deck. So again, the goal is for us to be able to distribute a deck to every single student who participated. There's an option to buy the entire set. So that would be 10 decks. And the various levels are designed essentially to make it so that we can afford to, our main goal again is to distribute a deck for free to each of the students who participated. So there is an option. I think the highest level, you essentially would buy a complete deck and then buy 380 decks for every single student. So you'd get a deck to each student. So
how much is the set? I can't remember.
So the set is $175. I think the first level is.
So to get a full set, and $25 to get a deck.
Yeah.
Right. So we've never done a virtual launch Kickstarter launch party before. So if you guys have questions or ideas right now.
I mean, our main goal of this is to have people share this with family and friends so that we can get these made, right? So the proceeds, everything is going into a nonprofit account. We've budgeted essentially to make 1,000 decks and get them distributed to people. So that's our main plan of this project.
We're at 6 backers so far.
All right, good. We're almost there. All we need is, all right, well, we have $600. So all we need is $9,588. So, and we don't have to raise it today. And we have 60 days in order to do this. So, yeah, so if you want a full set, find us. If you want to make a donation to help support other people getting decks, there's lots of different levels of pledge support. So,
and Jennifer, definitely, please share this. Share this. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So definitely share this wide, and and again, there's if you scroll down through the Kickstarter. We also have a level of support where you would get an entire set and uncut sheets. So all of the work in uncut sheets, and that's specifically targeted at institutions. And one of the things that we hope comes out of this is that these 380 students who've had the eyes of curators on their work will potentially be included in collections. So when the CCP, Becky, I think you all are going to get one, right? I'm hoping. Then Granville's work and Megan's work will be part of the collection of the CCP, and whoever else gets these. So again, it's the whole project was really about doing a few things. One, providing an opportunity for students to get their work seen on a wider scale. But also, I mean, what we're looking at now is also like making these things physical. And that was something that was really important to us because everything was going online and there were virtual exhibitions and all of that stuff that when we, there's something about the physical cards that you can trade and collect and make friends with. So any other questions?
That actually, the physical, that was a big part of the discussion. I think Allison Nordstrom came on FotoFika also and talked about the importance of physicality. And I think that we're all probably thinking a lot about that right now. And I think one thing I'm thinking about these cards too is they have an Instagram, like the way, like I've always liked cards. I loved trading cards when I was a kid. And I think there's something about that the way the physicality, it's physical and it still mimics a little bit of how quickly we go through Instagram. So I think there's this idea of blending the past and the present. Anyway, I just want to talk about the physicality of it because like my partner actually said she thinks I'm going to wear my cards out because I've been like touching them so much, but it's really nice to hold them. And they're not, it's not like a super precious print, but it's just, I think there's just something really, I'm trying to sell you guys on it, but I'm excited about that.
I'd like to share a success story from the process, if that's helpful.
Of course, yeah, please.
So Becky invited me to write about one of the artists, and several of the artists that I was really interested in the beginning were already taken. And so, I kept looking through, and I actually included one of the artists that I found through this process in an exhibition last fall. So Gabby Magalay, and she was included in our Right to Herself exhibition with several, very well-established artists. And so that's now part of her resume. So thank you for that. It's always great to have different avenues to find artists.
That's so exciting. Thank you for sharing that, Anita.
Yeah, it bears out your theory, Becky. It was a theory until now.
That's right.
And what was her last name?
It's spelled Magalay. Magalay.
Let me see. I'm looking for it because it's. Oh, here we go. Let me share my screen. Yeah, so that's the work right here.
Yeah, that's one of her series. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. A success story. Anybody else have a story they want to share? And I'll escape here too.
So the intent for this wasn't necessarily either to be a full-length FotoFika, so don't feel like pressured. But if anyone has anything to say, bring it up. But at the risk of pushing it, I just want to throw out there, we were debating whether we even want to talk about this, but I just want to say that we are cooking up an idea for the class of 2021. I think that there's a lot of, Becky said it right away. You actually said it in I think in May. You're like, we may be having to think about the next year, the class of 2021. And I'm such a naive optimist. I'm like, what's she talking about? And I just want to I don't want to derail this, but I also do want to say, I wonder if any of you are thinking like, what about now? But we also do acknowledge that this was also a particular moment that we're looking at with these cards. So we won't be doing the same thing, but just throwing in a little plug to stay tuned about the class of 2021.
I just want to add something. One is, of course, the fact that everybody that participated all of a sudden is now part of this new community, which is so great about putting people together that don't know each other, but now we get to find about each other's work. But something that I'm sure you haven't thought about, which is that my experience is that the cards that I put out were all of a sudden collected by people who collected baseball cards. They thought a lot of people didn't care about the photographers. It was just another set of cards that were available to be collected. And I just want to kind of add that to your possible ways of distributing the work, because there are going to be people that are really interested in very unique, unusual, small run baseball card sets. In this case, they're not baseball, but trading card sets. And you may be able to sell them that way too, promote them in another way.
Thanks, Mike. That's great.
Awesome. And thank you, Mike, for, I don't know, for answering the phone and showing up and saying, of course, that sounds great. Let's do this. Let's make this happen. We really appreciate your openness and willingness.
I'm just looking forward to seeing everybody so I can figure out who's really interesting that I want to go and look at their work. So I'm excited.
Yeah. And also, don't you have something going on too? A little cross promotion. You are here. Isn't there something on Friday?
Yeah. Well, we don't need to cross this thing. You guys you don't need my promotion.
Okay. Well, it looks like a fascinating project. So
I'll just say there is the printed matter virtual art book fair. So you guys should certainly be aware of that. It's just open today, and there's all kinds of great events. And so if you're interested, I'm doing one talk, and Becky knows something about what I'm doing. It has to do with Ansel Adams. And
you might have heard of him.
Yeah.
He was in the first project. He was in the first deck.
That's right. He was in my set.
Yeah.
Anyway, if those of you that have ever had the chance to go to the New York Art Book Fair, in reality, they've been really wonderful events, and it'll be really interesting to see how this one turns out virtually. So I hope you have a chance to take a look at it.
Thanks, sir.
And I also just want to have Kim, can you unmute yourself and just wave?
Hi, guys.
Thank you.
That's Kim Peters, who really put up with a lot of like last minute, we need this tomorrow, and then we would get it. So and also Jason Adkins, who's not here, has taken over in her stead in terms of doing the physical, making the physical cards. So but we couldn't have done it without their expertise. So thank you so much, Kim.
Yeah, I really have to say it turned out much better than I could even imagine. So congratulations to all of you who are in it and helped put it together.
Awesome. Thanks, Kim. And who else is out there? Oh, Sarah Smith is in there. Hi, Sarah. Sarah is doing an event with SPE. I'll put a link in there 2 weeks from now. Right?
Yeah, it's happening.
It's coming up. And that's about an exhibition that you curated, right?
Yeah, I'm giving a talk. Well, I didn't curate it, but
your students did, right?
My students curated this one. Yeah, I'm giving a talk at SPE about Study Hall, which is my sort of in-house gallery classroom space that has been really pretty incredible. I started last year, so.
All right, we'll put a link in the chat. And then also Todd is here, who is on the front page of all of our promotional materials. I'm not.
That makes me feel weird. I'm sorry.
I know. Well, it was just random.
Well, and I also want to say that I'm super excited. I just made my pledge. I did a little buy one, get five, or whatever the deal is called.
Great. So you'll get coffee.
But I'm super excited because it will join my Michael Simon card from the original deck. So,
fantastic.
Yeah, Mike, I'm afraid to say that I don't have the full deck, but I went to Beloit College where Michael Simon was teaching, so happy to have that card. So congratulations to everybody. This is a fantastic idea, and they look super sharp. So Well
Yeah,
done.
thanks so much,
Right.
Todd.
Go All Stars.
Yep.
All right, go All Stars.
Great, thanks.
I got my tracksuit on. Come on, I'm rip roaring to go here.
Right.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll stick around if anybody wants to chat to us. But and then if you're here, send me your mailing address, and I'll mail you a card.
And FotoFika next week, more normal.
Yeah. So we'll have if you're a photo educator, even if you just want to see a bunch of photo educators. We do meet every other Wednesday at 4 p.m. at the same address. And next week, we're celebrating our 1-year anniversary of FotoFika. So join us for that if you got time or inclination. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye.